Two absolutely powerhouse foldables, but which comes out on top in form and function? So I've had the Pixel Fold and the Galaxy Fold side by side for everyday usage for a while now, and I've been super excited to make this video for you guys ever since the Pixel Fold was first announced, and I wanted to love this phone in like every single way, and I don't quite love it in every single way. We'll discuss all of those nuances in everyday form factor, performance, and break down the implications on one's lifestyle for you guys. If you're new here, my name is Dave, and I do tech. Now the first thing you see when you pick both of these phones up is that front display. Now the Galaxy is a more thin candy bar like display, which I've talked a lot about in my previous Galaxy Fold videos. I'll have the reviews up here for you guys. Where the Pixel Fold's display is more akin to like a normal everyday phone. And I have to say that although I do enjoy the slim form factor of the Galaxy Fold, this has been an amazing experience. And I think for a lot of people, despite my accumulated preference with this thinner display, are going to prefer this for everyday usage, day in and day out. It is really nice that on the Pixel Fold, when you're viewing content, like if you're gaming or watching a video, you're going to get more of the video and the content on this screen. When you're filling full screen on, say, YouTube, for example, you're not getting a huge crop on the content you're watching like you are on the Galaxy Fold 4. I love the Galaxy Fold 4, but I gotta be objective, like, that's really nice. With the thinner form factor of the Galaxy Fold, I have no problem reaching every single aspect of the display with just one hand, and the same is absolutely true here for the Pixel Fold. Every single corner of this display is reachable. And Google did an amazing job because the screen, both on the outside and the inside of the Pixel Fold, are absolutely gorgeous. Looking at the profiling of both of these devices, the Pixel Fold is definitely a bit slimmer than the Galaxy Fold is, and it lacks the gap that the Galaxy Fold has, which objectively I would say is a plus. It's nice that it closes like 99% flat. I will say that in terms of opening these devices, I have to give the nod to the Galaxy Fold just because the side rails are flat, where the side rails on the Pixel Fold are a bit more rounded and they're smooth, and so sometimes like my thumbs would slip off. Bezels in the inner display were something that were controversial when the Pixel Fold was first announced. Subjectively, I prefer the thinner bezels on the inner display on the Galaxy Fold, but objectively, I can say that Google did such an amazing job with the inner display screen, how crisp and vibrant it is. The overall experience is incredibly smooth, and so on an everyday, day-to-day basis when you're using the inner display on the Pixel Fold, unless you have it directly next to the Galaxy Fold, I don't think the bezels are really going to be something that you notice all that often, and they're not going to be a hassle. So typically in these videos when I discuss battery life, I walk you guys through my everyday work day as a clinical therapist, all the way from the morning when I'm doing treatment plans and monthly summaries, all the way through the end of the day when I'm actually meeting with the clients that I'm working with and then jotting down notes. The Galaxy Fold can get me through, I would say, like 80 to 90% of my entire day without a problem, hitting around 6.5 hours worth of screen on time. The Pixel Fold is not quite able to hit that marker. Now for me personally, this is not a deal breaker because I have chargers available at pretty much every single juncture of my day. For those of you who do not have that though, you're looking at like just shy of 4.5 hours worth of screen on time in my experience. So if you're someone that has battery anxiety, that might be one of those things you look into, or maybe you grab a power bank so that way you can have the versatility of the Pixel Fold and not have to worry about your battery life too much. I personally use one from Anchor. I'm not sponsored by them. It's one I purchased with my own money. I just really like it. I'll have that link for you guys down below. If you guys are enjoying the video so far, want to stay up to date with more Pixel Fold and Galaxy Fold content I have coming here to the channel, hitting the subscribe button is the best way to do so, and a thumbs up goes a long way to helping me out. Let me know in the comment section at this point in the video, which one you're feeling more. Peach for Pixel Fold, grape for Galaxy Fold. Previous Galaxy Fold 4 videos, I talk a lot about how the haptics on this phone are good, but they're definitely better on like the iPhone 14 Pro Max and say the Pixel 7 Pro, and they're definitely better here on the Pixel Fold than the Fold 4. I would say that in a vacuum, if you're just using the Galaxy Fold 4, it's not something that you're going to notice is bad, like it feels good, but when you use it directly next to the Pixel Fold, you do realize that the haptics on this are just more substantial and give a more satisfying feedback when you're tapping on this device. Both phones have a fingerprint sensor on the side of the device, which for this form factor I think is awesome. I'm going to give a slight nod to the Galaxy Fold 4, however, because in my experience this opens faster and more consistently than over here on the Pixel Fold. I would say this works like 8 times out of 10, maybe 7 times if I'm having like a bad time with it, where the Fold 4 opens up like 9 times out of 10 very quickly. That being said, the facial recognition on the Pixel Fold is very fast and consistent. I've been really impressed with their unlocking solution here. Additionally, the Galaxy Fold has a swipe function on the fingerprint sensor that I use all the time. Instead of reaching up to the top of the phone, I can just swipe down on the fingerprint sensor on the Galaxy Fold 4, and it's just something I use all of the time, and it's not here on the Pixel Fold, and I really wish it was. Alright, so when it comes to gaming, the Pixel Fold handles all of the everyday stuff exceptionally well. Transitioning between different applications, opening multi-window, sifting back and forth between apps, or navigating various screens that you're using on a day-to-day basis. However, the Tensor G2 chip still has the same performance that you'd get on like a Pixel 7 Pro, for example. And so what that means is that like on Genshin Impact, for example, you cannot run things on like the high to near high settings like you can on the Fold 4. You can get around medium settings, maybe medium high, depending on exactly what you tweak. Get that 60 FPS. It's not going to look the crispest, but it'll run pretty solidly. Or for example, like Honkai Star Rail, a game that I've personally been loving a ton. I was surprised that you can't quite hit maximum everything in that game either. On the Pixel Fold and Honkai Star Rail, you can hit, I would say, like high settings for most things at 60 FPS, but you can't hit the highest settings. Or on the Fold 4, you can run everything at maximum, and it's not going to have a problem at all. So if you're a gamer like me, playing games like Punching Gray Raven, for example, you'll be able to get like medium to high settings depending on the game, but you won't be able to max everything out the way you can reliably on, say, like a Fold 4 or S23 Ultra or the iPhone 14 Pro Max. I wish you could, but you just can't. Now, in my line of work as a therapist, I'm listening to a lot of podcasts for psychology and psychiatry just so I can stay current with research and up to date with like theoretical orientations and things like that. And so usually I'll bring my phone into the shower with me, and sometimes I'll play a podcast for those things. On the Pixel 6 Pro, I really couldn't do that because it just wasn't loud or clear enough. On both of these phones, I can do that. I would say the Pixel Fold speakers are a bit better than on the Galaxy Fold. When you hit those highs, it's just a bit cleaner. The phone has a bit more of a thump to it when you're hitting those bassy sections of the songs that you're listening to or even podcasts. I have to give the nod here to the Pixel Fold, and it's not something that I was expecting, if I'm being honest with you, but it's definitely the case. Now, the hinges on both of these phones are awesome in that you can open them up basically to any angle that you would want to, and they're going to activate their own independent like flip mode, and they're going to hold that angle exceptionally well. And for someone like me that does filming for YouTube, it's cool because, say for example, my Sony a7 IV, you can use the Image Edge mobile application on both of these phones, and when I'm recording, I can have them angled up at me so I can see exactly what it is the camera's seeing, which is super duper helpful. Or in games, for example, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, you can have the display flipped at like 45-50% of the way. You can have like your opponent's screen on one side, your screen on the other side, and it's a good time. I would say that both hinges and both phones in that flip mode do a really good job. Camera time. So in these videos, typically I just show you guys pictures and videos, let you devise what you think with your own eyes first, and then I'll kind of like talk a little bit at the end. You seem to really enjoy that, so here you go. Alright guys, so I'm actually not going to tell you which phone is which. Let me know in the comment section if you think phone A is the Galaxy or Pixel, or if you think phone B is the Galaxy or Pixel. I will say that in this instance, the phone on my right hand side I think is doing a better job retaining detail, and in terms of the highlights on my skin, despite this sort of like sunset overcast that we're getting here. Because the Pixel Fold just has that sort of really natural notebook feel when you're opening it up, because it's a wider form factor. I think Google did a really good job there. It's much easier to utilize sort of like that 90-degree split screen mode for, let's say, like YouTube videos in the top half, and like say the comment section in the bottom half, or if you're typing and texting to somebody trying to use it like a laptop. It's just flat out better on the Pixel Fold than the Galaxy Fold because there's just more screen real estate and it's more usable. That's not something I ever used on the Galaxy Fold. Like, it's neat, kind of showed off in a video, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel works on both fine. But for more versatility, I gotta give it to the Pixel Fold, man. I mean, I think it just handles it well. So we've gotten this far in the video, and I've discussed a lot of things. The single biggest thing that really has disappointed me about the Pixel Fold to this point is that there's no room for experimentation or optional settings in the way that you have on the Galaxy Fold 4. For example, on the Galaxy Fold 4, I can swipe with 2 fingers on the screen and it will activate my multi-window multitasking. On the Fold 4, I can have multiple windows open. I can have 3 separate windows, and I can have bubble windows on top of those windows. And although you're not going to need that all the time, it's nice having that sort of flexibility, and you can't do that over here on the Pixel Fold. I actually, before I did this comparison video, I was going to do a tips and tricks video on how to get the most out of your Pixel Fold, because that video did really well on my channel with the Galaxy Fold 4, but when I was delving into the settings, there really wasn't a lot to talk about, and I didn't want to make a clickbait title and waste you guys' time. But you simply can't do those things on the Pixel Fold. You can't have a window full screen and then slide on the top right corner of the application to turn it into a bubble. When you open applications, you can't force them to become widescreen like you can on the Galaxy Fold 4, even if they don't always look the best. For example, social media on the Pixel Fold will say Twitter and Instagram. You open it up to get that tablet look, and yet you have just the application down the center of the screen. You can tap to the left or right to have it float over to the left or float over to the right. Or on the Galaxy Fold, it'll just automatically populate the entire screen for you. Now, a small workaround I have found is that if instead of this wide display, you sort of flip it into like a newspaper display, then your social media applications are going to populate the screen in a more natural format, I would say. It's a little weird because I think it feels really good in this wide look, but if that's what you're looking for, you want that tablet look, that's the orientation you'll have to flip it in. So at the end of my comparison videos, I'm usually a bit more vague, and I always am as impartial as humanly possible, just because I want you guys to be able to make the right decision for yourself. I just present the information, you make the right decision. If I'm being honest, and I was really looking forward to not saying this when I first picked this up, I think largely in terms of like features and capacity of these phones, if you're looking for a foldable, the Galaxy Fold 4 right now is going to cost you less money than the Pixel Fold, and is going to give you a lot more in terms of feature sets and horsepower. That being said, the Pixel Fold is not a bad device. I think Google did an amazing job for their first run around, making sure that this was a very tight, precise package that does everything that you need it to do, basically. But it just does not offer the wealth of experience that you're really getting on the Fold 4, which is a little disappointing. Let me know in the comment section if you guys are going Pixel Fold or Galaxy Fold, and thank you so much again for stopping by and hanging out, of course. I wish you a fantastic remainder of your day, afternoon, or night, depending on the time it is you are watching this, and, as always, peace, love, and adios. Have a nice day, guys. Bye.